Welcome, I'm Wasabi, and for today's episode of One Shot, we're looking at Lost in the Deep by Diogo Nogueira, a solo journaling game where you play as the last dwarven warrior in an expedition of the lost undercity of your ancestors. After months of traveling underground, your band unwittingly unleashed an ancient evil, and one by one they all perished, leaving you alone, afraid, and lost. This is a fairly quick game, and though thematically it is designed for one person, I could see you running this with a friend or a significant other for a shared experience. So, what do you need for this game? You need a d6, a deck of cards, a Jenga tower, and 10 coins, and of course either a notebook or something like Google Docs works if your hands hurt after writing out like 3 sentences like mine does. And before you click away because you don't have a Jenga tower, there are several online you can use. I recommend this one because as cheap looking as it is, it works fine, and this physics-based one is, interesting. Alright, first block. Okay, first block for real this time. Okay. As for the coins, since not everybody has currency on hand necessarily these days, poker chips or great bears or really 10 of anything works. Alright, so you have all the stuff you need, but how does the game work? Basically, the Jenga tower represents the state of the mine. At the beginning of each round, you roll a d6 to determine how many blocks you pull out. When the Jenga tower falls, you die. The tower falling represents dying from a collapse, being consumed by the darkness, or however you see fit to describe your poor dwarf's end. Next, you roll a d6, and whatever number comes up is how many cards you draw. Each card represents a different event that happens during that day. Events can be both good and bad, and many can cause you to pull out more Jenga blocks from the tower, or they may even give you boons to survive more easily. Once you have all your events in front of you, you write in your journal for that day what transpired, how certain events made you feel, and how you survived. Once you complete that, it's time for a new day of hell, and you repeat rolling for the mine and for events. If any of this seems confusing, I will summarize playing out a day in a moment, but only after I give out spoiler warnings for those who want to go in completely blind. So, how do you escape? I won't delve too deep, no pun intended, because I think it's slightly spoilery, but it requires finding a certain card and good luck with removing all 10 coins, representing finding sets of stairs out of this forsaken place. And that's pretty much it. It's a very simple game, and I think my playthrough took about maybe an hour. I enjoyed my time with it, and will probably play it again once or twice. The quality of the small book is nice, the art and layout fits the theme perfectly, and it takes very little time to get going, though I didn't have a real Jenga tower to clean up. I'm usually somebody who recommends buying physical versions of games, but with shipping prices like they are and the amount of gaming you're going to get from this, I actually recommend the PDF over the physical copy. If you're interested and want the physical, absolutely go for it, but if you're on the fence, it's only $4 on drive-thru, and even if you only get one evening of fun out of this, you really get your money's worth. No one game will ever be the same, and a lot of the content are mostly prompts to boost your own creativity, and with 54 different events total, I can see somebody getting a lot of mileage out of this. Before I get into spoilers by revealing some of the events I came across, I just want to say this is the first time I've ever played a solo journaling game, and I found the experience quite special. If you've been following me for a bit, you know I'm a huge fan of dwarves, and so when I was doing a big Exalted Funeral Order, this game caught my eye. It was weirdly relaxing, even though this game did a great job of capturing the horror of being alone, the guilt of being a survivor, and the desperation in the face of a dark power beyond comprehension. I think if you want a bit of an easier game if you get discouraged, you can use a d4 instead of a d6, but I recommend only doing that after trying it out properly. And like I said earlier, I think this could really work as a fun night with a friend or significant other, though I highly recommend whether solo or with a partner that you bring lots of beer, because you're going to need it to fully get in the mindset of a stout alcoholic. Also, if you have a fantasy campaign coming up, this could actually be a really fun little game for yourself to develop your dwarf warrior if they survive as a proper adventure backstory that they won't soon forget. I highly recommend Lost in the Deep, and now I will get into spoilers and explain how a day plays out and the journal entry I wrote for it. First, every game begins with the same paragraph except for whatever name you give your dwarf. Day 187 since we arrived at the kingdom under the Mother Mountain. Now I, Yormut, am the last survivor of our band. My companions have all fallen victim to the machinations of that ancient evil we unwittingly awakened in our foolish search for the secret treasure left by our ancestors. Now the evil in the shadow and its minions are behind me, ever near. I must find the stairs that will lead me out, but I have no idea where they are. I still have water and rations for a few days. I hope I can make it. So for the first day after the intro journal entry, I rolled a 5. So then I drew 10 of diamonds, 6 of spades, 6 of clubs, 7 of spades, and 7 of hearts. First, 10 of diamonds is, you wake up to find your water skin gone. You are thirsty and your throat seems covered with sand. Where will you find water down here? Next, 6 of spades is, you hear war screams coming from below. The minions of chaos are preparing for battle and already celebrating their upcoming victory. How are you feeling? 6 of clubs is, how did one of your companions sacrifice themselves to save you? How'd that make you feel? 7 of spades is, as you open the door to a room, you are faced with a deformed creature of chaos and it jumps over you. After a quick skirmish, you manage to get away, scarred. What did it look like? And finally, 7 of hearts is, the corridor behind you collapsed and you cannot turn back anymore. Something tells you it was not an accident. Why do you think so? As you can see, for a first day, this was a lot, so though I touched on every event, I didn't necessarily deep dive into it, but this is what I wrote in the journal. Day 188 since we arrived at the kingdom under the Mother Mountain. I yet live one more day, but barely. My warskin was missing when I awoke this morning, and I considered giving up there and then on the side of that dark cliff. Though a darker fear than dying of thirst struck me as I could hear the sounds of a warband marching up towards me from the depths of hell. Drums, horns, and screams shook my legs out of their stupor, and they carried me further into the darkness to their beat. However, I could not escape them all. A group of my once proud companions, now turned into demonic silent versions of themselves, found me hiding in a cramped room. Among these 3 dwarves was Brynjolf, my friend who not 3 days ago gave his life for mine so I could escape these foul fiends. Though I was not able to slay them, I was able to fight them back and buy myself enough time to escape. The crumbling mine thankfully sealed them away from me. Perhaps there is still some old god down here watching over his youngest descendant. What I love about the solo drilling game is that even if you got the exact same encounters as me, what you would get is something infinitely different. Perhaps longer, perhaps briefer, these prompts mean you can interpret them any number of ways, so no matter what, your story will be your own to experience. I think if you do buy this when you've had your fill of it, pass it on to a friend, see what stories they tell. In fact, please let me know what story your dwarf went on if you get this game. I'd love to hear it. Unfortunately for poor Jormut here, he never stood a chance. He survived for another 3 days before succumbing to the darkness, never to be seen again. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. My next video will be much longer. As always, play smart, play risky, and stay safe out there. Alright, I swear, I wasn't doing it just for a bit. This game's, like, legitimately hard. Let's just take it slow. Okay, let's try again. Okay, just gotta take it slow. Alright. Okay. Alright, let's try this again. Okay, the whole tower is just coming with it now. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, so I've learned that speed's key in the last time, so let's do it again. God damn it. Ugh. Alright, let's try the lowest one. Okay, there we go. There we go. Alright. And now, how do I... Oh, it's going off... Okay, well, that one's gone. Let's try another one. Okay. Alright, still holding good. I can't put them on the top like you're supposed to in Jenga. Like, I can't raise it above. Like, oh, okay, well, that one's gone too. Okay, it's still holding up. Fuck it. We're just gonna keep taking them off and see how long we can oh, God. Oh, well, that was it. Okay. So the key is to do it really fast. That's what I've learned. Fuck.